Hey everybody, we're back and happy Sunday to you. As always, we're just gonna jump right in. Today, we're talking about fear. Not the fears of getting married, because we've already done that. Go back and watch it. But fears once you're already in your marriage.
Right. So I know when I popped the question to you, when things started to get serious, like were those fears still kind of running through your head that I may go back or I may do this? Okay. So what made you, after you did say I do.
I did.
After you said yes and you said I do.
Did.
What made you get past some of those fears?
Didn't.
You didn't. So you're still dealing with some of those fears at this moment, right? So is there anything that I'm doing now to help cope with those fears?
You know what? Honestly, yes. I feel like, and this is like, again, I can only speak for me. And again, disclaimer, me and Marcus are like, we're not counselors or therapists. We're just going off of what we've experienced, the prayer life that we have, and what God has done for us. But as you guys saw from our You Don't Know Our Story series, kind of the breakdown of what happened between me and Marcus, it was so hard to trust him. I did go ahead, he did ask me, I did go ahead and say yes. I walked down the aisle and here we are today. But those fears of, is it going to happen again? Does that still sit? Or I won't say does it. Did it still sit? It did for a long time. And Marcus really did do all that he knew to do. And even stuff that he even came and asked me, like, well, what can I do to, make this, like, what can I do to make you not feel this way? Right. But at the end of the day, it was something that Kayla had to get over.
Right.
Because when you would tell me that you at one place and then you end up being at another place. So now, like what we told you guys before, like Marcus texts me about the same time every day. Hey, I'm at work. Hey, I'm on my way home. Hey, I'm at lunch. Oh, I'm going to lunch with so-and-so. What are you doing? Or he'll send me a picture, like, so there's, for me and our trust issues, Marcus did all that he could do. And then it was like, okay, Kayla, you got to wrap your mind around the fact that he's not that same person.
Right. I think that's something that a lot of men have to understand. Is like some of the fears that we deal with, that our wives may deal with, may not even come from us, honestly. It could come from prior relationships, could come from their daddy leaving, or it could come from a number of reasons. But we have to be willing to work through those issues and try to make them as comfortable as possible in that position, because it could be something small that triggers a whole nother fear, and we don't even know what the root cause of it. So that's something that we talked about before. It's like you have to sit down and figure out the root cause of, okay, well, why don't you trust me? Or why? Well, okay, my daddy left me when I was young. He never came back. That's maybe the root cause behind it. So you got to do extra to make her feel that fear go away. And, and whenever, she is questioning you or whatever it may be, just answer honestly, be truthful about it. You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest key about us. So we used to couldn't have conversations, those tough conversations. So that made our fears even worse. So now that we're able to have tough conversations, now like those fears aren't really that big of an issue, because we really can talk our way through it versus, well, I'm not going to talk to you about it, so I'm going to talk to somebody else. But
just open up,
right? So that's what led to a lot of our fears, because I wasn't communicating with you about stuff that I was struggling with, or stuff that was going on in my life, and I was going to someone else on their behalf.
I will say, and that's the funny part too, because like his justification, if you may, for which I feel like most guys do that, because you're not the only guy that I dated that did that. But
who else you date?
I'm not doing this with you.
Oh.
And so, their thing was like, she understands me. She gives me a female's point of view. She's not that person. And I'm like, but to me, it didn't make any sense. Like, you're asking somebody else that don't know me about me when you could just come to me.
Right.
But again, it was because, that was kind of like twofold, because I was so reserved and didn't want to talk to you because I didn't know what you was going to go back and tell these girls about me, that we couldn't effectively communicate, so I was shut down. So when he did come and try to talk to me, I didn't want to talk.
Right.
Did you have any fears? No.
Fears, but that's the bad part. I didn't have. Okay. My fear was, in the beginning, I didn't think I married the right person.
Oh, this is news to everybody.
This isn't new. We were talking about divorce within the first few months.
Oh, yeah.
So that was one of my fears. Like, okay, Yeah, I prayed about this. I knew this woman for me. She'd been there for me. But when we first got married, we were doing things our own way. So my fear was, hey, I married the wrong person. So
I think that's right, because we moved in. I moved in before we actually got married, and boy, don't do that, y'all.
Right, and that made it so much worse because we were still having intercourse prior to marriage. Like we already got a kid. It's no big deal, But that plays into.
We should do a series on that.
What series on what?
The what nots to do.
Oh, well, we did everything what not to do. We can show you exactly what not to do. But,
Anyways.
Yeah, but that's another story. But I think that fear, that was the biggest fear for me. And then my fear was like I knew the type of female you are, and I knew like that you're not big on cheating. You cut people off, and I get comfortable with you. You know what I mean? So my fear when I do push you away, my only fear is that you're gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was my only other fear because I know sometimes
you live that.
I get lax.
Yeah.
I don't do the things I used to do. So I thought that was one of my only other fears that I would have.
Because I would say you got to experience a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Not a fun time.
Yeah, you cutthroat. My wife's a G.
You ain't got time. You're not my savior. You don't pay my bills. I love you though. But again, when it comes into your marriage, the main thing is communication because, we said at the time, if they ain't talking to you, they talking to somebody else. So whether you're setting those weekly meetings or you're having those monthly date nights, you need to make sure that you are able to sit down and talk once you've calmed yourself down and once you as a person have figured out what that fear is and what is triggering it or why it's there, being able to come to your spouse and say, hey, babe, I need a moment to talk to you. Because if you come at them like that, then it's almost like if Marcus was to ever come to me and say that to me, my instinct immediately is something's wrong. Okay, I'm here, I'm listening. What's up? What do you need? Instead of, I can't stand when you do this, da-da-da. That immediately puts up a defense and not willing to talk. So you need to be able to show yourself as vulnerable. Say, hey, this is something that I'm dealing with. This is why I'm dealing with it. What can we do moving forward for this? Which is basically, like I said, what Marcus did for me. Like, what can I do to prove to you that this isn't going to happen again?
But I think during that time, that's really how like God intended marriage to be. Because if we could do it all alone, have no fears or nothing, we wouldn't need Him in our marriage. So I feel like those are the times where you grow. When you talk about those fears, you talk about those doubts, and you grow closer together when you're in prayer together about it, whether individually or collectively. That's when you guys start growing and bonding together. Because that's when we got to a whole new level. Whenever we started getting on our knees together and praying over situations, those fears kind of ceased. Honestly,
or really truly opening up, with no reservations,
right. And then we knew that we weren't when we ultimately knew that, hey, I'm in this for life. I'm not going anywhere. So those fears kind of disappeared. When we said before, we had one foot in the door, one foot out the door. You know what I mean? We didn't know who was going to try to leave first. You know what I mean? Yeah. But when we really sat down and was like, hey, we in this thing, we can thick and thin, sickness and health, till death do us part. When we really start walking that out, not just saying it, it really alleviates a lot of those fears.
Agreed. That's the only fear you had, though?
Yeah, besides that,
G.
Like I said, I was scared to get married. Honestly, I didn't know what marriage. I thought my mom and my dad thought you married. They've been married for 27 years. But their marriage is not like our marriage.
Nope.
So when I walked into our marriage and it wasn't like their marriage, it was like, okay, I don't have to put some extra work in, Right. But besides the fears, once we really got into it, I really didn't have any other fears besides the two I already mentioned. What was any other fears you had with me?
Let's see, couldn't trust you. I never thought I would be good enough because, again, with our history and our background, there was always somebody else fulfilling the role of whatever it was that I wasn't doing instead of coming together, because we weren't married, and so we didn't have to try to fill that void or whatever the case may be, talk through it. We didn't have to. You just kind of went out and got somebody else. Wow. So the trust on that, the fact of, okay, am I gonna be enough? You've asked me to marry you, but really, am I gonna be enough to satisfy everything? Am I going to live up to your expectations? Am I going to be able to let my guard down? To be able to be vulnerable enough for you to submit, to allow you to lead. So those were my biggest fear, which again, going back to the beginning, is stuff that Kayla had to do. And Kayla had to deal with what Kayla, like, not necessarily to say, but it really didn't have anything to do with Marcus.
Right. But during that time, I can't beat her up on stuff that that she has to do on her own. During that time, that's when
that took a minute too.
That's when I pray for her. Only God can fix that. There's some things that as husbands we can't fix. Some things that we didn't do, but we have to deal with them. You know what I mean? But don't take that out on them. You know what I mean? They already deal with a lot. They already deal with enough. Don't.
Don't be like, if your spouse is coming to you, don't beat them up over that. Oh, why do you feel that way? Like, right. Feelings are feelings.
They're entitled to their feelings. Well, I said that on camera.
You did. Y'all heard it.
But that's pretty much it about fears. I know it's an
ongoing thing.
Yeah, because your fears are going to change. Throughout marriage.
The enemy's going to try to attack.
Yeah, by any means necessary. So whatever you can do to draw a wedge between you two.
That's what he's going to do.
He's going to do it.
So the main thing is communicate, be vulnerable, listen to understand, not listen to respond. Be supportive. Understand that whatever it is that your spouse is going through might not happen within your timeline. It's going to be on their own time. And like Marcus said, the most you can do is support them and pray for them.
Right. That's all we got.
That's it, y'all. As always, we'll see you next week.
All right. Peace.